How's it going, Goomy Gang? And welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope you guys are trying to enjoy Season 4. I know it's been a really rough one for a lot of us, including myself. I lost a lot of motivation to play, but I still want to get some content out for you guys, and it will get better at some point, so we just have to hang in there. But with today's video, we're going to be talking about a shotgun that you guys probably don't even know exists, and a lot of people just don't even give the light of day for good reason. That's the ASG-89 shotgun. This thing used to be in the ground loot pool for a while, and it was just kind of abysmally bad to use, and so a lot of people didn't pick it up. I definitely saw a lot of comments on Reddit about it. A lot of people don't like this shotgun, and I'm here to talk about it because I do think it is better than people give it credit to be with the right build, but also it does need some help. Let's be real, this thing is kind of ass, it's kind of butt cheeks, so there's a few ways we could buff it up. So this is my video covering the ASG, probably the one and only one I'll do for it, unless it gets a buff. The ASG-89 is basically a semi-auto spam shotgun of the game, and in multiplayer it works decently well with its fire rate, but in Warzone, because of its fire rate, it's so close to like the Expedite 12's fire rate, but it doesn't have the same damage. It's in this weird spot where it's either going to be really, really strong or just kind of not really good at all, and it's more leaning towards the really bad spot where it's not very good at all. Although I do think that there is some usability here, and it is actually fun when it works. Now, first of all, I'm just going to show you guys the build I've been using for this that was actually fun, and I had a decently good time with it. Keep in mind, I was playing Resurgence solos. I wasn't playing quads or trios or battle royale. This was in Resurgence solos, but it's still the same premise of just staying close and knowing how to pick your engagements, which is harder on Verdansk, but here you go. As you can see, it is a tactical laser build, but some of the things I want to point out with this shotgun and the ways that helped it for me was rocking the CHF barrel and something like the monolithic suppressor. The monolithic suppressor does hurt your aim down sight speed, but it gives you a little bit better range, which is why I've been using it. And no, we're not using a choke, and the reason for that is because with the choke, even though it gives you a nice tight spread, the distance is where it really makes a difference having that nice spread. This thing just can't compete at all, so it's really not worth using in those really close ranges where you want to be. Having that tight spread more than anything is going to make it harder for you to hit your shot and just kind of make it more difficult for you unnecessarily. So if this thing had some range, sure, I would definitely say recommend it, but for this, no, we're just going to go with the monolithic because it has a decently good spread that has some wideness to it, but it's not too wide to be usable with the tactical laser. And with the CHF barrel, rather than using the long barrel, this is going to make it to where your upper body does the same amount of damage as the lower body, or vice versa rather. And that's really nice because with a little bit of a wider spread, we can be a little bit more unforgiving with our shot placement. We can kind of hit below the torso and it's still going to do the same damage as long as your pellets hit. So it makes this thing a lot more consistent, and I found that this was definitely my favorite way to run it, and it felt very good, especially when people are jump shotting and stuff. It definitely helps having the CHF barrel, so I recommend that over the long barrel. Also for the stock, the infiltrator stock is pretty good because it helps with your aim down sight's movement speed. This is going to help you with strafing left to right in gunfights to avoid getting hit as much, and it's also good on the other shotguns that have it, the other two Black Ops 6 shotguns, and honestly for this one I felt it was pretty good overall. So there's the class for you. If you want, you could just end the video here and go try it for yourself and then get back to me and let me know how it is. But now I want to talk about ways to fix it and also kind of why it's so bad. So first, I'm going to show you guys a little screenshot from sim.gg. This is a great website to use if you want just the base game stats and how the guns work. And as you can see, here we have three different guns, the LC-10, the ASG-89, and the C9. Now, the real kicker here is, of course, being up close in its max damage range. How bad is the discrepancy here between the others? Well, for the LC-10, it's pretty bad. It's almost 100 milliseconds short. But for the other SMGs, it's not nearly as bad, but yes, it's still slower at about 608 milliseconds compared to the 525 and the 574 of the C9. Yeah, this thing can be unforgiving if you're not hitting your shots, but trust me, it's still close enough to where you can kind of make it work, but it's unfortunate because you kind of have to rely on the other enemies missing their shots a little bit, which does happen, but if you're playing against really good players who don't miss their shots, there's just not a really good way to compete with those people that are just really good demons at the game. But on the flip side, if you are a demon too and you know how to move and you can kind of manage your engagements, you can still kill with this gun. I promise you it will still work. Now real quick, I want to share with everybody how I would make this gun better if I had to balance it. For any devs out there watching, these are some ideas that you might get from this thing. Now for one, I would say maybe make it to where it's a 2-shot kill and it's max damage range, and reduce the max damage range's distance. So out to 3 meters, it can kill in 300 milliseconds or so, and then it drops to your normal 3-shot. I think that would be fair enough, but given how things are killing so fast in this game and SMGs are just so dominant, giving this a little bit of that wiggle room, in my opinion, doesn't seem too bad. Another option would be just extend that 600 millisecond time to kill range, basically its first drop off, out to like 10, 12, 15 meters. Give it some really good range here because it's not going to be killing as fast as other guns, but you have some potential, and if you can hit your shots, it's going to be doing some damage, even though it may not kill as quick as a lot of SMGs at the same range. That would definitely make it more usable. Another, probably a more simple way, is to just buff up the rate of fire, the base rate of fire, so that when you have rapid fire, its time to kill up close is more aligned with SMGs. So maybe around like 550 milliseconds or so. That's going to be a nice middle ground, I think, for this gun compared to some SMGs. Another option might be to just make it to where, with Black Ops 6 shotguns in particular, the barrels that shorten your range, or the barrels that are smaller, actually have some viability by making them give you extremely fast movement speed, or sprint speed, or strafe speed, something like that. I don't think this needs to be a thing for SMGs, God no, but for shotguns, give them maybe some movement speed like that. Give them some extra movement speed so they can compete with the SMGs. If they're not going to have as much range or as fast a time to kill, make them Speedy Gonzalez builds so you can run around and fly around the map like crazy, so you can close the gap a little bit better. That to me sounds really fun. And for the last tip, maybe just make it to where slugs are actually usable, because slugs take quite a fair bit of skill and they just don't have the damage right now to make up for that. So in my opinion, just rely on these other ammo types like slugs to make them really usable without needing to be too afraid of them being too oppressive, because they take a lot of decent skill to use. All right, so there you have it, guys. That's probably the first and probably the last video I'll make about the ASG-89. I highly doubt they're going to buff this gun. I highly doubt they're going to give it some attention, so I don't foresee myself talking about this gun again, but it's not as bad as people might think. It is still fun to use, especially in Resurgence, but it is difficult and it is kind of bad compared to a lot of guns in the game. But again, it's just worth trying. If you're looking for something new, definitely give this build a try, and maybe try it with 5 attachments too. Just make sure to rock the CHF barrel, the suppressor, and maybe the infiltrator stock with rapid fire and the tac laser. So with all that being said, guys, let me know down below in the comments, what do you think about this gun and your thoughts on it? With all that being said, I will see you in the next video.